Hey everybody, it's the Nitty Professor. I am here in Red Wing, Minnesota, looking across at the Red Wing Shoe Company main building. Where we are headed, however, is the actual Flagship shoe store, which is just over here to my left. So I'm going to head inside and we'll see what we find. Okay folks, so here we are inside the store with the famous big boot, the model 877, which is a complete replica of the actual mock toe boot, just in a humongous size. Over here we have the very famous Wall of Honor with Red Wing boots worn in the past by a lot of named people. Really interesting stuff. There's the shoe museum, which we're going to take a peek at, and a poster that matches with it. Here we have a little extension of the museum at the front of the store with some testimonials and again some actual boots worn in the past. Interesting kind of lore here. Let's check this out. New York newsboy walking through 48 states on Red Wing shoes. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, some stories and different kinds of leathers. I'll show you. One of the salespersons told me about some of their new products we're going to look at here. Some of the lacing materials that they use. Look at this boot right here. Style number 650, the Slugger, 1984, black oil tanned chrome. Interesting. Shoe care products. Some more examples, a pair of Pecos up there. And here we have display on the construction of the boot, the vamp assembly, upper assembly, triple Puritan stitch, lasting, the Goodyear welting process, the bottom fill with the cork, stitch midsole, and attaching of the sole. And there you go. Here's your finished mock toe boot. So yeah, pretty cool stuff on the displaying of things going on here. The Postman shoe, I remember that one. More care products. I might pick up some care products while I'm here. And yeah, share your story. 1998 submission. And looks to me like there's something of an invitation here going on. I like these boots right here. We'll keep exploring. So here are a few new items that one of the salespersons told me about. These classic moccasins and new leathers. I looked this one up here. It's called Dusty Blue Abilene, and I do really like that leather. That's a nice look, just something different, you know. I like seeing Red Wing change it up a little bit with the colors. Here's a new version of the Clara. I haven't looked up this leather yet. I might try to get a hold of that info for you, but it is the model 3409. If you're familiar with these boots and you enjoy them, let us know. And some new leathers on the women's mock toes. Personally, I like the lavender. It's called Dusty Lavender Abilene. If I could wear women's shoes, I might try those babies on. So I'm told those are some of the newest things that they've got available. Let's take a quick look at the Beckmans. They came out fairly recently. Kind of intrigued by these. Look at the sole. It's a half sole, and it's something kind of new and different that Red Wing has been featuring lately. Here's the black model. And I'm going to assume that this is the man that it's named for. Sorry about the glare off the light. So we're upstairs now in the museum area of the store. There's a lot of cool history of how the boots were marketed and conceived. Some pretty interesting samples going back in the day. Look at that, the flexopathic shoe. I don't know, it sounds a little sketchy, but there you go. Look at this adorable advertisement with all the puppies. That's really cute. Irish Setter. It's one of their kind of sub-brands. And over here we have how the mock toes are constructed, a little bit more detail from what we saw downstairs. But if you want to get into boot making, this is kind of an interesting illustration of how it actually occurs. Down here we see some information about the sole, the insole, and the first and last, a good fit. I have pretty good luck with the Red Wing Heritage Boot last. Probably do a little bit better with the Truman 79, but for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable in a Red Wing boot, even though I'm developing bunions. Sole construction, putting the whole thing together. So yeah, and there you go, in the box, ready for sale. You get a pretty cool view of the big boot from all the way up here. I'm not sure what this one is, but it's a boot. Look at that. So much fun. I need one of those little lace things on my Red Wing boots. The Red Wing way. If you want to know some details on the world's largest boot ever witnessed by the civilized public, officially recorded in Guinness Book of World Records 2005, here we go. 2,300 pounds of sheer gargantuan bulk, at 20 feet long, 16 feet tall, a colossal curiosity fit for a 12-story human giant. And here we have more details on how this boot was constructed. It took 5 months. And just some details here. It's size 638.5D, and the sole is 20 inches thick at the heel, weighs 2,300 pounds. The materials, 80 leather hides, 80 pounds of brass for the eyelets, 300 pounds of adhesive, 80 gallons of urethane, and it took 4,000 hours for the design, engineering, and fabrication. It was built using a last. Wow, can you imagine the last on this baby? The gusset tongue label was sewn on a large tapestry loom in Italy. And here we are downstairs in the outlet store. Just kind of give you a small impression of what we got down here. And that is a heck of a lot of shoes and boots. Okay folks, so we'll just give you a taste of the shoes that are down here. Got some classic mocks and some really nice leathers. These, a lot of them are factory seconds, and sometimes you can save 50 or 100 bucks. For example, these are going for $220 instead of $300. Now obviously you're going to want to find out why it's considered a second. Make sure you're happy with that to take the discount. But as you can tell, here's some Beckmans. The selection is well worth checking out. Got some some blacksmiths. Iron Ranger with the traction tread sole, I think that's what that's called. And then the traditional Iron Rangers. A lot of different sizes. Look at it. Let's see, 9.5, 9. A lot of pretty common sizes here. There's some 8s. And we got some Chelseas. And then some other brands associated with Red Wing. Basque over here. Let's look what we got over here. Some of the lineman boots. I think they were being sold in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Those are some nice pull-up boots. Sheldons. Pretty nice selection of heritage boots. Now they have some work boots down here too. So yeah, I have picked out a couple that I'm going to try on. Sometimes I wear an 8.5 in Red Wings, but usually I wear a 9. Men's 9D, so that's what I'm going to try. Here's some more unboxed boots that they've got. So let's see what I've got. I've got a couple to try. A pair of Beckmans and the 2937. All right, I'm going to try them on. We'll see what happens. And let's just take a final peek at the women's section of the store. Got some nice heritage boots in here as well. I'm not as familiar with them because guess what? I can't get them on my feet. But full confession, as we look at a few Claras, I did make a purchase, and as you can imagine, we will be looking at these on my channel very soon. Thanks, Red Wing.